Hey, we've got a couple people in here. Welcome. I was going to plant some tomatoes, and glad to have some of my friends join me. It's a rainy day here in Maine, so can't do much outside that, and we still have quite a bit of snow. Let's see, we have three people on. Welcome. Trying to watch the. I've got a laptop set up so that I can see the comments. I can't see them with the phone, so. Well, hello, Linda. Good morning. How are you this morning? Awesome. Everybody excited to get in the gardens? My garden has about 3.5 to 4 feet of snow left in it. We're supposed to be warm here. Well, hello, Dave. How are you? Hey, I'm in your old room, buddy. Planting tomatoes. Getting ready to take the kids to school. How long have we got before you've got to leave? I'm going to be using the seed pellets, Linda, and I know that you've been talking about doing it. Well, hello, country preacher. How are you, Donnie? Awesome. I know Brother Donnie's been working in his garden. CB, I get you on a live one. Awesome. Praise the Lord. Love this when I see ones that I follow and ones that have been following me join. It's great to get together. I love it. And especially when we have Christian brothers and sisters. I'm at work, but watching alone. Watching along. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. This is going to be different. I haven't done a live stream like this before. Not quite like this, but this will be good. I wanted to do this yesterday. I planted quite a bit yesterday. A lot of peppers, more peppers than what I had done. And I was going to video it, but I had so much on this card table that it just wasn't going to work. And I've got things up. I've got peppers up. Yesterday, they weren't up. But they're up today. So that's exciting. And I'm seeing my laptop is lagging way behind from the camera. How many of you have used this type of system with the pellets? Have any of you used those before? I have in the past, and I've had decent luck. They're a little pricey, but you know what? They do well. So I'm going to do my tomatoes this way. I've already planted. You have CV. What are your thoughts on it? You know, I like to do at least 72 cells at a time. Yeah, they do work pretty good. A little bit time consuming waiting for the water to get in, but I've had good luck with peppers and tomatoes. So I'm going to finish off my tomatoes with this. I did plant some yesterday, along with some other plants. You know, I was really disappointed. My wife loves petunias, and I had found these at Walmart. I don't know if you can read those or not. And I mean, it's a good package. And I opened it up, and there's some little tags in it, but there's only 10 seeds. I mean, this is a good sized package. And I opened it up, and there's only 10 seeds in it. I was so disappointed. So, as I was planning them, because I told my wife I wanted to keep the different colors separate, you know, so that when she goes to plant them in the baskets or the urns or wherever, she'd know what colors they were if they weren't bloomed when we planted that way. So, anyways, what I did is I marked them, and then I did quite a few Amish paste tomatoes, so I knew I could identify those easy. So that's what I did. So, anyways, in this, you get your tray. I'm not going to move that camera all around. Actually, I'm going to have to a little bit. You get these discs. Now, these are the big ones. You get this package of, I guess it's supposed to be vitamins and stuff. And, you know, I was reading on the directions and don't breathe and skin irritation. I'm not going to add it. I don't know what's in it, and I can't really see where there's a list of everything. You get a thank you note. And then you get a whole bunch of these little things. These are new. I hadn't got these before. So anyways, and they're small, so I'll be able to use them. So what you're supposed to do is a half a cup per cell in the water, or in the tray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, everybody knows how to add water to a seed tray, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a gallon, because I'm going to plant all 36. And what I do is I add it really slow so my pellets don't come floating up, and I don't get them into that tray before everybody's still with me. I'm not seeing, actually I'm going to move the camera so you can watch that. There might be somebody trying to learn later. Hopefully this will work. Actually, yeah, if you've got well water, that would be great. We're on town water. Which way am I sliding this? I want to slide. We're on town water. So what I have right now is rainwater. If I use the water from our faucet, what I do is I'll let it sit overnight, because I don't want the chlorinated water in it. Water just as good as distilled. Yeah, actually, my wife buys distilled water. Oh, yeah. And I'm not sure if this is for my wife's CPAP machine or if this is for the doves. Hello, honey. There's my wife on. So anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little over a gallon. We'll get that started. And then while these are soaking up, what I thought is I would show you some of the things that are growing in the seed rack, because I'm excited. So what you have to do is you got to let this soak up, the seed pellets. They soak up all this water, and they're going to rise. And these get quite big. You can see it's floating. I'm looking on the laptop screen, and you can see it's floating. So let's go into the seed rack. So excited about this. Okay. I don't know how easy this is gonna do. Now I planted these. I think it was a week ago Wednesday. I'm not sure how well they're gonna show in here, but I've got some peppers started. There's a few that have started in here. That's great. This one, like I said, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see in there, but I can see about 6 of those that have started. So by tomorrow, I'm guessing there's going to be a whole bunch. And again, I'm not sure. Let me move that. These are pansies that we planted. Those are coming up nice. So I moved these guys down a little bit because I've got, this is what I started yesterday. These are petunias. Petunias, and then I had done a bunch of more peppers. So, yeah, I'm excited. I've got growth. I have got growth. Now I'm gonna leave that door open because I'm gonna be shoving these in. Hopefully it's not gonna be too much light. Can everybody see all right? Or should I close the sea rack? I know there's quite a bit of light. It's fine? Okay, thanks. Anybody have any questions on doing the tomatoes or peppers or anything in these seed racks? CB, you said you've done it. Linda, I know, was, I think she was going to try some shortly. I think she was going to start some peppers, if I remember. Anybody have any questions on the seed rack? I love the seed rack. This has really been great. You have a kit. Do you have the big one with the big pellets, Linda, or do you have the smaller ones? I think they make 3 different sizes. This is for the 72. The one I'm doing with the tomatoes is the 36. The smaller ones. Okay, this is the one this is the 36, which are the bigger pellets. And you can buy the bigger size. You have a nice setup up there. My tomatoes are about a foot tall. Awesome. And can't plant outside. I've up potted several times, getting worried that they are getting too big. I guess we planted too early. I've done that. I've done that too, Donnie. In fact, there was one time I started them in the seed rack. I think it was 3 years ago, and I had started in February. And what I ended up doing, because I've been doing the Back to Eden garden, I didn't have to worry about them getting enough water once they got into the soil. I planted the laying down, and how it ended up being is my spacing. I put the roots next to the plant on the other side of it, and then came around, and the plant would grow up. You know, you lay a stick or something on that vine, and it would grow up. And I had a good tomato year that year. You know, with the Back to Eden method, I don't have to worry about watering my garden. I have very, very sandy soil. So prior to putting the wood chips on my soil, I would have to water about every other day if we didn't get rain. And I didn't like that. For one thing, it was chlorinated water. I knew I was hurting the worms and all the good things that I needed in that soil. Do you have a greenhouse? Donnie, I know I've been watching some of your videos, but I haven't seen a greenhouse. And this is just paused on me. I'm using an old laptop and it doesn't always cooperate with me. It's slow. Got 6 people on. Awesome. Awesome. You have a sunroom. Um, one thing that you can do, welcome Pinebrook. Couple more weeks, I hope, to fire off the hydro tomato. I am so looking forward to that CB. I have been following along on that. I am so excited, and I love how everything is so neat. You've done a good job. Done a good job, and the way you've explained it has been very well. So, very good. Well, most of these are getting, some of them coming up a lot quicker. Donnie, one thing that you can do on your tomatoes, and I've done it in the past too, is if you can stake them. Now, this is a reed stick. I've done this before. I'll break it so I'm about 2 inches above that plant. And then just take, I know a lot of people are using those clips. But if you want to go a little bit cheaper, just get like a bread wrapper. Put your stick in the ground, and then up above a limb from your tomato, wrap that, but don't wrap it tight. Give that vine a chance to grow, and that might help. I'm sure CB's run into this problem before. Need to lower my lights. I have the trays popped up, but I think finding a way to lower the lights might be better. Yeah, what I do in my seed rack, Pinebrook, is, you see I've got 2x4s under it. That gives me a chance. Once things do come up, and I need to lower it, I can drop them down. That's the first step. But then I can raise them. I can raise them up here. And another thing that I want to do soon, probably not this year, but for next year, is to have some kind of a pulley system so that I can lift them up easily. Great, Donnie. You know, because when I'm trying to work with these chains up here, that can be fun. You know, there's 2 sets of lights on each tray. You know, and to get those even. Yeah, hardcover books. The only thing is water dripping onto them, or the moisture. There's quite a bit of moisture in here. Not as much as there will be once I pull the tops off, but I also store my gallon jugs on the bottom end. You know, so you've got that moisture, and then when these are closed up, you're trapping all that moisture in. You know, so I don't know if books would be, like I said, I use 2x4s, and that works out pretty good for me. These are taking a lot longer to soak up than I thought they would. Boy, that tray is heavy. Pinebrook, well, you're new. You didn't see when I did that. We're planting in the seed pellets. I'm going to show how I do my tomatoes in that today. It's raining outside. I can't do anything outside, so I thought, you know what? I'm going to plant tomatoes. This gives me a chance to fellowship with some of my brothers and sisters. I just thought it would be a great thing. You know, so many of you have already planted. We're late up here in Maine. Very good. But you know what? We're getting rain, but it's melting that snow. for those that have seen the videos that I've shared with our front yard, if you look, a lot of those videos you couldn't even see the house that was across the road. Now I can see they have their top floor windows, and then there's a little mini roof. I can see to the bottom of that mini roof now, so it's melting. It's melting. We're gonna have rain for about 4 or 5 days now, so and then we'll get to 50 and 60-degree weather, which we haven't seen for a long time. So no, I just thought it would be fun to be here with some of my friends, some of the ones that I follow, ones that are following me. I am gonna add some more water to this, kind of speed it up. Yeah, getting back to the water, Linda. That was distilled. This is spring water. These are just containers that that we had. And I just keep refilling them. I'll have a 5-gallon pail where I'll probably save some of the rainwater that's going now, because I don't like to use chlorinated water if I can help it. If I remember right, when I've used this before, I think it took just about 1.5 gallons of water to do this. Trying to keep up with the chat, and I know this laptop is running slower. So I had my beautiful bride make me up the different plants, or different tomato plants that I'm gonna do. One's gonna be the beefsteak, and I'm gonna plant quite a bit of them. Actually, I think I'm gonna see how it works. If I do 2 rows of those. What I like about the beefsteak, they're a nice tomato, they're a big tomato, but also they're an heirloom tomato, so I can save the seeds from them, which is good. The other one is Rutgers. That's also an heirloom tomato, so we'll save seeds from them. Now, how's this going to work out? Best Boy. Those aren't an heirloom. There is at least 20-30 second delay. I know that because I can hear you upstairs. Okay. See, why I need to know where I'm putting what is, because once these come up, they're pretty much going to look alike, unless you're used to working with all the different ones. And when I get into my garden, and also if I give away or I sell some of these tomato plants, I want to know what I'm gonna, what I've got. The other one is Celebration. Those aren't an heirloom either. But the other thing is I want to know my indeterminate and determinate tomatoes. In the garden, if you've noticed, I have stakes that go up in the garden. There's 2 rows of them, and then there's a rope that comes across. And what I usually do is I tie to the top to each plant, and I let my plants kind of swirl around that, and I'll anchor them to it. And this isn't going to work, right? Okay, so we're going to do aroma. Now I've planted the Amish paste Roma tomatoes. I've already started those. I did those in another tray. But these, I believe, are the VF Romas. I'm trying to read. Wheat Tree Bonsai. Welcome. Welcome. Yes, and if you're enjoying this, click the thumbs up. I'm going to go through this after because anybody that I'm not subscribed to, I definitely want to support you too for helping support me. Um, I love, with so many of the people that I'm following now. Um, I'm trying to think. There's one channel in particular, and I can't remember her name, but she's been putting on a video about every day. I know she bought a mini Jersey cow, and I have so enjoyed trying to help her. She's planted her garden, and she had problems with it going like this, and what I'll say is just a suggestion. This is what I do. Um, I'll take a stake, I tie a string on the stake, tie a string on the other end of the stake. That's the one. That's the one, PG. Thank you. She's learning. The family's learning about this. Back last summer, I think it was, they were showing the compost bin. And I told her one thing that might help, if I can suggest, is put a board or a 2x4 where each slat that you, on the front, so that the air can get in there. And I think she's been taking it the right way. I don't want to tell anybody what to do. I'm just trying to help. Things that work for me, trying to help them too. All right, celebration. And then I'm going to do some cherry tomatoes also. I think they're the 100s. And you know what? So this video doesn't last forever. I can finish hydrating these at another time. Because I know PG had to go to drop her kids off to work, or school. Yeah, work. They're not working yet. Ones that are at work. Okay, so, and this is going to be a little difficult here because these are dry. Image paste, and I have my tomatoes right here. What did I do with them? I moved everything. Okay, hold on just a second. When I came upstairs, I put everything in my pocket. You do? Yeah, I think I've seen them. At least a boy, Linda. And I can't remember his name. I am not good with names. Not good with names at all. Okay, so I'm going to plant 8 of the beefsteaks. There's the 2 rows of those. So usually what I do, actually there's enough room for those anyways. I'm going to just drop it. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to drop one in each one. I know the packet says to do 2 or 3 in each cell. Whoop, well, that one got 3 or 2. Actually, I'll pull that out. But because of the success that I've had with these, I don't worry about that. And I give a lot of that credit to the seed rack. Normally, on this seed rack, I am running, I forgot their names too, you have 4. That's funny. My wife and I have 4 also. 4 children, and they are all grown up. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm just covering those seeds. There's probably about a 1/4 of an inch of this peat that I'm covering them up with. And I don't pack them down tight. All I need is soil contact. Did I put one in there? Does anybody remember? I think I did. There it is. Yeah, I did. I wasn't seeing it, hidden. With the seed rack, it's warm. That top tray normally runs, and that's why I have my peppers. That's why my tomatoes will go there too. I'm running about 87 degrees. Um, Probably isn't that right now because I've got it opened up, but and my other trays, if I was to put my thermometer, um, I really recommend doing this, friends. Um, I have a thermometer. This is the end. I put it inside. I've got it on the top rack right now because I don't want it getting too warm up there. And then downstairs at my desk, I also have the other end of it. It's wireless. And it tells me what the inside temperature is downstairs, but it lets me know what's in here. Now, if I put that same one on one of these other trays, um, I'm going to be running somewhere around 72 or 74 degrees. Um, and I'm happy with that. You know, the flower plants that I've got in there, any of the other plants, they'll do fine with those temperatures. Okay, so I've got the beefsteak in. Let me go with the Rutgers. Now, I think I was saying one of the other reasons why it's so important for me to know what plant I've got in what is because some are determinate. The determinate ones, there is some seed in here, isn't there? Brand new pack. The determinate ones, those are going to be normally your smaller tomatoes. They're not going to be the ones that grow 5, 6, 8, 10 feet tall. So I don't need to stake those. And the other thing that I don't want to do is I don't want to be pruning them the same way that I would do the indeterminate. So why is that important? I just dropped 3 cells in that. Because where I plant my, we're going to put 2 in this one, just because they're there. Well, that one went into the water. I don't want to put a short plant in that row. I want to save those 2 rows that I have because I can put 9 plants. Actually, that's going to change too because my seed rack's going to go in there, or my greenhouse is going to go in there. Normally, I can put 9 plants per row. Wish I could stay, but got to get busy. Thanks for the tips. Have a blessed day, everyone. Thank you so much, brother. Love you. God bless you. I've got to watch your Sunday message. Haven't watched that yet. If anybody, for those that want to hear good sound doctrine, sound preaching, go visit Country Homestead Preacher's channel. Love that man. And I think there's going to be a time that maybe we can maybe do some teachings together. Awesome. That makes me happy. Okay, so I got my Rutgers. All right, so now we're going to go with the best boy. Drop 1 seed in each one. These farmer fingers don't do real well with these little seeds. Kind of hoping Chris and Darlene would be here, homesteading the hard way, because he could relate to that. He's farmed most of his. He knows what I'm saying about fingers that are all banged up. Okay. So there's 8 of those. Okay, now we're going to go to the Romas. Yeah, we're going to do the Romas. Now, I will probably plant more Romas than what I've got here. I'm only doing the 4 here. I've already got, I think, a 6-pack in there of the Amish paste, which is another Roma. Because I know my wife plans on doing quite a bit. I think she's going to be doing salsa again this year. We're running a little low, and then there's a few other things. Okay, and then the last one was the cherry tomatoes. You know, the cherry tomatoes. Welcome to the room, Last Drop. Glad you could join us. Eyes to See Ministries. Awesome. Welcome to the room. That's another channel I've just started following. Great channel. Another man of God. So many channels that if you want to watch a funny channel, stop over to PG Nano's channel and watch where they did the how well do you know your spouse. That was funny. In fact, Leanna was watching too. All right, Dave, God bless you. I'm a woman, part of a ministry. Okay, awesome. Awesome. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover up these seeds with the peat moss. You don't have to pack them down hard. I'm going to do what some of the other channels do when they're doing a live stream and doing something. There's 2 in that one. Will be a double. So I had to have Leanna up here asking the questions. So how many of you have actually got some plants in the garden now? Have any of you been warm enough where you can do that? For anybody that's not really familiar with this channel, we're in Maine. We're central Maine, which is actually zone 4B. You're in California. Awesome. What have you got started? And you have to remember, I've watched so many channels, it's hard to remember exactly names I've never been good at. I can, but I'm afraid to. I'm in Texas, and last year I got clobbered with a late-minute cold spell. That happens up here. In fact, we had a major frost last year, the end of June. The end of June. My peppers got set back hard last year, and that was because of that. I did plant the Romas in here, right? Pretty sure I did. I hope I did. My tomatoes, they got set back. But they did all right. The peppers, I didn't do well. I didn't do well at all. And my cole plants last year, my broccoli and cauliflower and the Brussels sprouts did really well, but broccoli and cauliflower, we went right from winter. I got the plants in, at a decent time. but we went right into summer. We went right into the 80 and 90-degree days, um, and that hurt them. We didn't get the broccoli and cauliflower that we normally do, and that's one of our favorites. Gardening is it's a gamble. Every year it's a gamble. It seems like if it's not if you get the weather, it seems like you get plagued with some of the pests. We've all done that. Being more careful. Yeah. There's been years. My main garden right now is 30 by 35, and I'm watching the laptop, and I'm still pushing the seed down into the cells. Yeah, every year, CB, it's something different. You know, I have never. Pete's Little Homestead, welcome, welcome. We just got done planting some tomatoes. Um, I have certain pests that I have to deal with here. One of the ones, and hopefully we'll end that problem, is the cabbage worms. I have an awful problem with cabbage worms. Um, Last year, I got plagued really hard with Japanese beetles. I've never had Japanese beetles in my garden before, and last year they devastated a good part of my pole beans. Um, they got into, actually, they were into my potatoes. They didn't bother the potatoes real hard, but they were there. There's another one. I have the Colorado potato beetle. Um, I have a lot of problems with those too. I'm gonna move this camera. We've got those all done. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put the top on it, and they can go. Um, yeah, they're all planted. Raise that up just a little bit more. Um, and I've had different ones. What can you do for the Colorado potato beetles? Yes, there are things that you can put on, because I don't put any herbicides, pesticides. I don't use any commercial fertilizers. Um, I hand pick, and I type slow. Hi, you all. That's all right. I'm a slow typer too. Um, I hand pick them. Um, as far as fertilizers, when I was working on the dairy farms, of course, I had all the cow manure that I wanted, and then some. Um, I do have the chickens. Of course, with the chickens, that's too hot to put right on. Um, I have the rabbits now. Leanna and I bought 3 rabbits, so we have the rabbit manure that I'll be able to use. Right now, it's going in 2 of my worm bins. But there's the other thing. I've got the worm castings, and that's done well. I think I'm in my 4th year. It was in March when we got them. No, this is going into my 4th year with them. I got customers and coming in and out, stopping to say. All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. So, like I said, I don't use any commercial fertilizers in the garden at all. I do get nutrients from the wood chips. For those who have joined in just recently, um, I'm doing what is called the Back to Eden method of gardening, where I've got wood chips um, covering my whole garden. And the very first year that I did that, normally you put the wood chips in the fall, and what had happened is I had learned late fall about this method, and I studied and I watched so many videos that winter. Um, and that spring, I told Leanne, I says, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna believe in faith it's gonna work, and it's been awesome. Has there been some things that are a little tough? Yeah, there has been. When I did it, we have a local tree farm, or tree service, and they brought me up chips. And if you look at some of the videos that I've put on, you can see some big wood chips. They're not small. They're big. Um, and I put that right in on the garden. Well, when you're going to try to plant lettuce or spinach or some of the real small seeds where you're planting in the ground, you're not doing plants, that can be a challenge. And how I overcame that challenge was I dig my trench or move the chips, and I would lay straight compost down, and I would plant my seeds that way and then cover them up. And then as the plants come up, um, I'd bring the chips back around the stem of those plants, and that worked really well. Um, Now this year, about 3/4 of the garden, I retopped with wood chips last year. That should be really nice. And you'll see as I plant different things in that part of the garden. But I've got another section that most of the wood chips have all broke down, um, and there are a few weeds. Now, for anybody to say that you're not going to have any weeds in a back to Eden garden, it's not true. You are going to have some. But what used to take me hours and hours to go down a 30-foot row, weeding every time that we got rain, um, and then to what I have now, such a difference. I may spend in the course of a summer with all the gardens, the raised beds, the flower gardens. Leanna does a lot of weeding in the flower gardens, but in the main garden, I might spend 2 or 3 hours a summer. There's a big difference. To not have to water that garden anymore, big difference. I gave all my soaker hoses away. Um, if you move those wood chips away from the soil, like when I'm planting my potatoes, or not my potatoes, my tomatoes or peppers, move that soil away, and you've got worms galore. So you know that it's healthy soil. Yeah, they can see it from anywhere in the shop. I have a big screen TV I use as a monitor. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Very good. Say hi to Renee too. Um, I had thought about doing a live stream at some point. Okay, Pete. I think I might have seen that video. Um, I would be, and this is just a suggestion, I would be a little bit careful there. If you could add some good compost, um, I don't know, I don't remember if you make compost there, out of your garden scraps or horse manure, cow manure, or whatever. I think I would mix that in with it. If you've got worm castings, I think I'd mix that in. And why I say that is, you hear different ones that will argue, oh, you don't want to use wood chips in your garden because it's going to tie up nitrogen. Well, the wood chips on the top of the garden, the rain and the snow is going to go down through those wood chips. And it's, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, CB. And I've thought about that, but I haven't done enough of them to really make it. But you're absolutely right. Um, my church services we do on a platform called Pal Talk, and I have quite a few moderators because we have ones that come in and Um, yeah, I get you. I get you. Um, and CB, if you would be willing to come in when I do those, I would definitely have you as one if you would like. I'm using wood ash and topsoil mixed in. Okay. Um, this is this is your first year using the composted wood chips. Awesome, awesome, CB. And I'm gonna have to search out. I'm not gonna do it right now, but I am gonna have to search out on how to do that. I'm not familiar with how to do that here. And for me to mess with the buttons on this one, I'm not logged in on the laptop. I am on the phone, and it's so small. It's hard to do all those buttons. I'm gonna follow you along Pete's Little Homestead, and if you don't mind me giving you suggestions when I watch, I try to be careful with different ones because I don't know how they're gonna take it. For anybody here, if I give a suggestion, that's all it is a suggestion. It's not trying to make me feel, or I don't want you thinking that I'm better than anybody. It's all helping out, and this is what I love about this community. We're all trying to help each other. I have to go for a bit. Hope to catch another live. Thank you for all the tips today. Very good, very good, Pinebrook. Um, have a blessed day. So glad that you could join. I wasn't sure how many people would come on. I didn't give any forewarning. It was just a spur of the moment thing, which is something that I do a lot. Um, I thought, you know what? If anybody wanted to come in and watch how I do it, talk about the greenhouse, talk about your gardens, awesome. I like that. Easy with the wood ash. Yeah. Um, wood ash is good, but again, it in moderation. In moderation. You know, and it's like with everybody. Oh, you hear people. Oh, you got to put lime on your garden in moderation. You know, I have never sent a soil sample to see how my garden is doing. I may do it this year, only because, you know, there are those who will argue that the back to Eden garden isn't going to work. I mean, I know better. I know what's come out of my garden. I know the moisture content that's coming out in the garden. Honey, you want to type what happened with the first cabbage that I brought in the first year that we did the back to Eden garden? You want to share what happened with that cabbage? um, with the potatoes, I don't. Hey, there's Brad. There's a fellow Mainer. Welcome. Okay, Linda. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all your support. Um, God bless you, and we'll catch up on your videos too. I think you uploaded one tomorrow, yesterday, and I want to catch it. Awesome. Lime is a great thing to use. Hydrated, that is. Yeah. You know, CB, I just found another new channel. It's a guy that does worms. And he was talking about for ones that had problems um, with insects in his worm in the worm bins is to use lime, but you can't use. It was a specific lime. Um, so that's something that I might look into. I haven't added lime to my garden for probably about 4 years, so it'll be interesting to see what the wood chips have done. You know what my nitrogen is, what my potassium, so on and so forth. What the pH is. Of course, it's all going to change. You know, if I'm going to be using the rabbit manure in there. If I'm going to be using, of course, I've been using the worm castings. This will be my third year of that. Um, Part of the garden I had used, actually, no, that would have gone over into the potatoes. I was going to say I took wood chips and I added horse manure to it. I got a whole trailer load of horse manure and I mixed that in, and oh, I don't know, I was probably 3 months, every 3 or 4 days, swapping from one bin over to another. And anyways, I'd like to do some soil samples just so I have, and that I can share with anybody else who wants to try to do this type of method. You know, the thing that I've been really struggling with is the things that I'm sharing. Most everybody in Missouri and Texas and California, you've already got your plants in. But, you know, these could be tools for next year. You know, some of the things that I'm going to share. You know, which is a great thing about YouTube. You know, as long as nothing doesn't happen to me and or my channel doesn't get taken down or whatever, is, you know, we can all go to other people's videos later, you know, 5 years, 10 years down the road, and just see what worked. So, very good. Eyes to See Ministries, you're welcome. You're welcome. Glad you could join us. Glad you could join us. You know, for the ones that, oh, yeah, I'm sure you do. I don't know if you can read the bottom part of it. You know, I share when I'm teaching. You know, most of the time I do have t-shirts such as this. Um, but you can wear that, but you need to walk the walk, talk the talk, right? Praise the Lord. So I'm gonna put these tomatoes in the seed rack. Um, did anybody have any questions that you wanted to ask? Whether it's about Leanna Rye or our gardening method, the seed rack, um, questions about your garden. I'm in Kentucky, so I got a lot of time till first week in May. Yep. What my plan is, Pete, is I know my pansies, my impatiens are going to be some of the first things to come up. And I have two little greenhouses now. One is like what I'm seeing on a lot of the channels. There's 4 trays. There are ones that you can put outside. They have the green plastic and the clear plastic. Pansies and impatiens will probably go out there. Orange peels surrounding toms. I heard they are good for the plant. Have you heard about that? I haven't. Oh, around the tomatoes. I haven't heard that. Eggshells. Eggshells is something that I use a lot. That's interesting. Orange. I'm not a fan of wood chips. They work good if you understand they need to break down before planting in them. Yeah. I don't plant in them, CB. Like I said, if I'm doing lettuce or tomatoes, carrots, I scoop the chips. I have a string with a stake on each end, and I put that down. That measures my row from my last row, and I'll explain this when I'm planting. And then I move the chips away. And then what I'll do is I'll take a little hand rake, kind of scuff up the soil a little bit, and then I will take either the worm castings or some compost or both, sprinkle that along, plant my seed in that. And then once the plants start coming up, then I bring the wood chips in. If I'm planting my tomatoes or I'm planting my peppers, I move the chips away. Um, and again, getting back to like what Pete was saying, his or no, it was Donnie. Um, yeah, can't remember the name. I'm not good with names. Um, Depending on how tall my tomatoes are, if they are a tall plant, if I planted way too early and they grew too well, which is something that happens in this, um, if I lay them down, then I'll dig a trench and I'll have where I want that plant to come up. I'll lay a board or a little log so that the sun will lift that end of that tomato up. But normally, if I've got plants that are like so, I'll dig down. I'll throw in the compost, some worm castings. I think somebody was just talking about the eggshells. A lot of times I'll put eggshells because there's that calcium, and a lot of people believe that the calcium from the eggshells will help prevent um, blossom end rot. But it's something that I do. I know eggshells is a good source of calcium. I crush it up as fine as I can. Um, so that helps. They suck the nitrogen out so bad until they break down. Thanks, CB. I'm trying little experiments all over my garden to see what works best. I don't garden much as I used to. I live with my son and his wife and children, and my daughter-in-law's father has a large family farm, so we barter with eggs. I plan on doing some container gardening. That's another thing that I want to do this year, Brad, is for people that don't have room for a garden. If they've got a little deck or they've got a, patio, whatever, balcony, is to grow some of those things there. Um, I know a lot of people are doing the potatoes in the bags. Home in the Sticks channel. I know he's been doing some of that or in pots. A lot of the other channels. So, whatever. So you can grow some of your own food. Enjoy the good taste and um, chemical-free vegetables and fruits. So that is something else that I want to do this year. Um, if I had the back part of our deck done, which I haven't even started yet, um, we're planning on doing a lot of different things there with plants. I am going to put herbs in in containers that will go on the part of the deck that we did last year. Yeah, CB, I've been thinking a lot about the straw gardening that you're doing. Um, because where I add that greenhouse that I want to do, um, I want to have something solid towards the bottom that the sun can hit at and also protect, as far as water getting in. And what I've been thinking is on the west end, I'll have like a pony wall because that's not going to get enough daylight, enough sun in the daylight. But on the eastern wall, is I thought maybe doing something like that square bale gardening that you're doing, and then have the greenhouse on that one side. I'm thinking that could be really interesting. If anybody is interested, and I know there's a few channels that are doing it now. If you're interested in learning about the square straw bale or hay bale um, straw bales, watch his channel. He'll show you how he sets it up. Um, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. I'm trying to think. Somebody else just started, and they had learned from you, CB. They just started one, and I know they kind of mentioned you in that video. So if anybody, there's a way. If you have a small space, a lot of folks are giving it a try now since they seen me doing it for years. Yeah, yep, it's great. It's great. That's what this whole community seems to be about, is helping each other from mistakes that we've learned. I'll share my mistakes. For those that watched the video putting this up, you saw me struggle with one of these sheets. I think it was this one here, and it fell down, and I could have edited it out, but no. But I like that, where we can share our successes, share our failures. It helps others out. The things I share, it may work for you, it may not work for you. We're in, like I said, we're zone 4B. There's a lot of snow out there. We're still cold. Our soils are different. Pests are different. I'm in town, so I don't have room to raise goats and do some of the other things. There is nothing fake about our channel. What you see is how we are in real life. Good or bad, we show it all. Awesome. Awesome. So friends, I'm gonna put this in. I've got to go out and check. If you hear me talking about my girls, it's not, I don't have a harem, it's my chickens. I need to get out and check my girls. I want to thank everybody for spending some time here. Okay, Brad, glad you could join us, and I'll keep your granddaughter in prayer. Okay, Eyes to See Ministry, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support, every one of you. Thank you so much. And thank you for what you share, the knowledge, the humor, the fun. I like humor in some of the videos too. And you know what? The different ones that have been here today, go back later, look at the channels. Go and visit their channels. They're all great channels. Go and check them out. If you haven't subscribed to them, and you like what you're seeing, hit the subscribe button. Like them. Leave a comment showing that you're supporting them. It's all what we should be doing. All right, Acres of Clay, welcome. You guys are you're great. You're great. So, show a little love to everybody. Hit each other's channels. Help support them. Love you guys. God bless you.